Okay, we are looking at constructivist psychology principles. Okay. Now, constructivism holds that the only reality is our individual interpretation of what we perceive. So, they believe in what does the individual think. What I think is what should be. That is. So, they believe that knowledge is not received from outside, just as the constructivists will make us believe, but it's constructed in our heads. So we should be able to construct our own knowledge. So the process of learning is construction, not a change in behavior. No. Behaviorists will say learning is a change in behavior, a relatively permanent change in behavior. Now, constructivism is saying learning is a process of construction knowledge. So, if I'm able to construct knowledge, I've learned. Good. Whether I'm able to use it or not. Okay. Now, what does constructivists do? One, they emphasize on learning rather than teaching. So, constructivists believe that you must let the student construct their knowledge more. So, you just facilitate, you give them the information, you give them the resources, and they learn. You facilitate the learning rather than you teaching in the behaviorist side. Okay. Emphasize the actions and thinking of learners rather than of teachers. So, the teachers must guide their thoughts and think the actions of learners, not impose their actions on them or their thinking. They emphasize active learning. They also emphasize discovery. You must give the students the room to discover. So either you give them the free hand to discover for themselves if they are adult, or as children you can use guided discovery. So you give them guidelines, and then through that they're able to discover something. Now, constructivists also encourage learner construction of information and project. I already said that. Have a foundation situated in cognition and a situated notion of anchored instruction. So, there is a relationship between what students are thinking and then instruction. So, you must always let, you must know how people think, and you know how to instruct them. Constructivists encourage that students do more of cooperative learning. That is, they work together. We also believe purposeful and authentic. You must have a purpose for every activity. They encourage personal autonomy on the part of learners. So, learners are able to own their knowledge. So, learners are given the tools and they are set out to discover something. Okay, we are learning about tutorial software. Okay, so what is your view on tutorial software, the types of tutorial software? So you give them these guidelines. Learners would search, and come out with their knowledge on the topic. And that they own it. They own that knowledge. Okay. Now, learners also emphasize learner choice and negotiation of goals, strategies, and evaluation methods. So, the constructive believe that you must give learners the room to negotiate the goals and strategies. So, this semester we are going to learn how to build a courseware. How do you want us to go about it? Say, in the constructivist way, they can tell you, say, I think you must leave us to use your period to do the research and then in the end come out with the software. Constructivists will believe that, no, okay, we should all judge to know how to arrive at the goals, what strategies to use, the evaluation. We want to write exams instead of the building of the courseware. That is what constructivists believe, that if students are taking autonomy of their learning, then they must also help in deciding how they are evaluated. So they support learner reflections. Learners should be able to reflect on what they have been able to achieve. Now, they support ownership of learning, yes, as I said earlier. Now, learners encourage learners to accept and reflect on complexity of the real world. So, always they are presented with case studies that look at a broader picture, that is the real world and how their knowledge can fit in. Okay. They use authentic tasks and activities that are personally relevant to the learners. So every activity the constructivists say that must be relevant to the learner. You don't give anything outside. Okay. So that is about the constructivist theory and what you can get as a multimedia designer or as a courseware designer, what you must keep in mind when designing courseware based on the constructivist theory. I must say that you don't have one theory, good theory, to design a courseware with. What you need to know is that you need to combine all these theories, the good element of the theories, in the design of your courseware.